So, the wait is finally over for Rangers to get a league win under Russell Martin as they come away from notoriously a really difficult venue, beating Livingston 2-1 in the end, although they made extremely hard work of it after having what has to be said a really quite overall positive first half, particularly towards the end. But Livingston will probably feel as though that once again they've let the end of the game come back to bite them, if they like. Another game where they've conceded really late on to be robbed of a point in their eyes. But in terms of how the game started, Livingston in the ascendancy early on, 4 shots on goal in the first 7 minutes, and then the tide kind of turned. Rangers started to grow in confidence, creating some opportunities. Miovski misses an absolute sitter that you would think that the Miovski of old, anyway, from when he was in the league before, would have put that away, no problem. And then I think Rangers started to grow in confidence and get themselves some more opportunities, and they ended up getting the breakthrough in the first half, which, to be fair, it's a really good finish from Tavernier. Gassama beats his man on the wing, cross a little bit too deep to the back post, but Ant-Man recovers it, sends it back in, and Tavernier with a bicycle kick to finish it off. And then not long after that, Rangers were awarded a penalty for a shirt pull on Raskin. Raskin does kind of throw himself to the ground, but Stevie May always playing a dangerous game if you're going to grab anybody's shirt in the box. John Beaton's called over to the monitor and he gives the penalty. It's a really poor penalty from Tavernier, but credit to Priori, sticks his foot up and saves it, who, despite the fact that Livingston lost this game, I thought he had a really good game, the Livingston goalkeeper. And then it was pretty much all Rangers towards the end of the second half from there. But coming out for the second half, Rangers started probably brightly in the first 5 minutes. It was a bit of a opposite as to what happened in the first half, really. Rangers started brightly, and then Livingston got into the ascendancy, creating more and more opportunities, getting more and more confident, and they got the rewards after a good ball in from Adam Montgomery, and Mo Silla gets on the end of it, who was always seen as a pretty good signing for Livy in the grand scheme of things, gets his goal. It's a good header down into the ground to beat Butland, and it's 1-1 at that point. And Livingston continued to be in the ascendancy at that point, creating a couple of more chances. They just couldn't get the cutting edge, and then it became, for the last 10-15 minutes, a bit like a basketball game, end-to-end stuff. Both teams creating a bunch of chances, but it was Rangers that ended up getting that all-important breakthrough in 8 minutes of added time. On the 94th minute, I want to say it was, Rangers, a flurry of corners, and they finally make one count. The ball comes in, Raskin gets up well to head it on to Max Aarons. As you can see, there's a big stramash of bodies in there, but he gets a good connection on it, and it could have deflected and went anywhere, but it manages to find its way through all the bodies into the bottom corner. Good finish from him, and it makes it 2-1 to Rangers. It has to be said, though, that even right after the goal, of course, there was the celebrations from Rangers. There was even some pitch invasion from some of the fans. The Rangers fans went right back to chanting their displeasure for Russell Martin and continued to do so at the full-time whistle as well. So this result clearly hasn't changed anything in their minds, and I don't think anybody would have expected it to anyway, given the fact that this gives Rangers a jump from 11th place up into 8th place at the time of recording anyway. They, of course, have managed to claw back some ground on Celtic, who dropped points yesterday in the draw with Hibs. They've clawed that back to 7 points now. However, they're still the 9 points behind Hearts, who are sitting top of the table, of course, after match day 6. But we'll see how both Celtic and Rangers and Aberdeen get on in European football midweek. Of course, Aberdeen kicking off their Conference League campaign against Shakhtar. Celtic at home in the early kick-off in the Europa League to Braga, and Rangers away from home to Sturm Graz. So we'll see how all those guys get on in those fixtures. I'll do my predictions for that as well, and I'll try and get some more SPFL RTG episodes up. If you're interested in any of that content, please consider checking out some of the other content on the channel, liking and subscribing, and I'll catch you in the next one.